Welcome to Sagenheim. In the previous part of the Thidrekssaga, we heard about a new ruler over Hunaland, the daughter of Oda named Erka, and of a campaign against Vilkinaland. So here now, from the olden days. Rodolf the Good Knight was carrying out a spying mission in the forest. When King Osantrix came there with his army, he halted his march and had his tents set up. When Rodolf became aware of this, he rode back to the army of King Attila and gathered 300 well-armed knights. Then Rodolf rode back through the forest with his men and met the guards of King Osantrix. 12 in all, along the way. He killed all of them. Then they rode into the camp of King Osantrix, blowing their horns and killing everything that came their way, man and horse. Rodolf and his companions did much damage to the army, and he gained a great advantage in the battle. He rode back into the forest, and when he counted his men, he found that he still had all of them, and no one was seriously wounded, but they had killed 500 of Osantrix's men. Now Duke Rodolf rode back to the army of King Attila and told him of his raid. King Attila ordered that he be well rewarded for it, and promised that he would repay him richly. And after that, King Attila returned to Susa, but King Osantrix returned to his country, and matters remained as they had been. When King Attila was at home in Susa, Duke Rodolf came to him one day and said, "Sir, I ask a boon of you. Give me 300 knights for an expedition, and as much gold and silver as seems to us necessary for such an expedition." King Attila answered, "Where do you wish to go that you need such a large army?" And Rodolf answered, "What a difference does it make to you what I plan? If I do not return before 3 winters have passed, then I will be dead." And King Attila commanded that he be given what he demanded. Duke Rodolf rode out of Susa with 300 knights and turned his way north towards Vilkinaland. When they had come into an uninhabited forest, they set up their tents. When they had been there a night, Rodolf called all his men to speak with him and said, "This dark forest is uninhabited, and there is no road nearby. You shall remain, my men, and make your dwelling here until I come back to you. And this gold and silver I am giving you should be used to provide you well and nobly with food, clothing, and drink. You will send men to market to buy what you need to have. If I do not return to you before 3 years have passed, then return home and tell King Attila that I am dead." After that, he took a hood and a horse and rode to Vilkinaland, calling himself Sigifred, which we call Sigurd. There is nothing to tell about his journey until he came to King Osantrix. When he arrived at the king's hall, he asked permission to enter the hall, and he appeared to be an old man and dim-sighted, and he wore a hood so that one could scarcely see his face. When the king arrived, Rodolf fell before his feet and spoke, "Sir Osantrix, king, for God's sake, grant me mercy before your royal power." And King Osantrix answered, "Who are you? And where do you wish to go? And where do you come from? You speak like our enemies. Why have you come here?" And Rodolf answered, "Sir, I was raised in Hunaland, and I have kinsmen there. I was a powerful man like my father before me. I am called Sigurd, and I have fled my domain before my enemies." King Osantrix answered, "You are of Hunnish family, and you look most like Rodolf, the vassal of King Attila, who one day did so much damage to us and killed 500 men. If I could get him in my hands, he would hang before my castle." And Sigurd answered, "It has never been well between King Attila and me. I was a man of King Melias and I had 3 brothers. But King Attila hanged one of them, and another he killed with a sword, and the third he wounded. He was still laying wounded when I left, so that I don't know whether he has been killed or not. After that, I killed 100 men before him and burned 5 of his farms. Then I fled from Hunaland." The king replied, "That was great bravery. May you be appropriately rewarded. Be welcome here with us. If that is true what you have said, then I shall give you an earldom and as much power as you desire." And Sigurd answered, "Sir, I wish to spend some time in your army, and if your men get along with me, and it seems good to me here, then I will accept your offer." The king thought that well spoken and accepted his suggestion. He remained there for 2 years, and during that whole time he did not speak with Princess Erka. A king called Nordung from Svava came to King Osantrix. He was a powerful king, and he asked for the hand of Erka, the daughter of King Osantrix. The case was supported by Earl Herdnid and his brother Hird. Nordung was a close friend of theirs. King Osantrix received his proposal warmly and was inclined to accept it if his daughter was willing. He had a great and rich celebration prepared while King Nordung was staying there. Princess Erka lived in a castle where no ordinary man ever came, and there were 40 noble maidens with her. King Osantrix spoke with his friend Sigurd. "You have been in my kingdom for 2 years. You are a wise man and a good warrior, trustworthy and truthful. I'm going to send you to meet my daughter Erka in her castle, to tell her that King Nordung is asking for her hand, and to discuss with her whether she wishes to accept his proposal." King Osantrix and King Nordung were sitting outside on the city wall when this took place. Sigurd took the king's message to the princess and asked them to open the castle to him. When the princess knew that this was the messenger of her father, she welcomed him and asked what his mission was. She spoke. "You must be a wise and cunning man. No man has been thus with my father for twice 12 months and has acted as you have. You have not been in the least curious except for the one time when you were commanded to come. And during the whole time you have been here, you have not come to talk to us." Sigurd answered, "Lady, it is not customary in your country that a man go to see his queen later or sooner, and he never does unless the king himself allows it, and foreign men are not allowed to speak to noble maidens. I learned that in Hunaland, because the king himself has sent me to talk with you. We shall talk privately." Erka spoke to her sister Bertha. "Go out of the castle, along with all of those here, and we too shall remain here, and he shall carry out his mission with me." Sigurd replied, "Let us go out into the grassy courtyard. It is very courteous that we hold there our conversation, because the king is sitting on his castle wall, and he can see what we are doing, but he cannot hear our words. No one will then suspect what a foreign man is saying to the king's daughter, or what his errand is." And Erka replied, "You certainly are a courteous knight, and you have learned great cunning in your youth. Erka called to Berta that she should take 2 cushions out into the orchard. And then they went out and sat down under a fair tree. And King Osantrix and King Nordung saw where they were sitting. And all of the maidens had gone away from them. Sigurd spoke. Now you will see that I take off my hood. I have deceived men. I have deceived women. I have deceived King Nordung. I have deceived King Osantrix. And I have deceived you. I am not Sigurd, but rather I am Duke Rodolf, King Attila's man. He has sent me to you, lady, asking that you be so courteous that you promise yourself to him, and accept him as your husband and become his wife. He will be able to give you sons and the courtesy of many knights, great castles, and much gold and silver. You will wear fine clothes, bordered with gold, and all of your maidens and ladies in waiting shall be of noble birth, and wear furs hemmed with gold. Powerful dukes will carry your train, and you yourself shall be the greatest queen in all of the world. Now Erka answered angrily and called out, My sweet sister, hear now the mission of this man. He is not Sigurd, but rather Duke Rodolf, King Attila's man. He has deceived me, and he has deceived my father. Go and get my father and tell him this news, so that he can quickly kill him, because he has killed 500 men before my father, and for that reason alone he shall quickly be hanged. Rodolf answered, Do rather what I did bid you. Go with me and be the wife of King Attila and his queen, and the young Berta, your sister, shall be my wife. Berta replied, speaking to Erka, Lady, you are the child of a king, and you shall not betray a man who has come into your power in confidence that is based on your honor. Let him depart wherever he wishes. But what did you say one time, Sister Erka, that I heard you? Was it not thus? Holy God in heaven, grant me that I become the queen of Hunaland and the queen of King Attila. You may now become that. God has granted what you asked. You shall not betray the foreigner. You shall become the most powerful queen of Hunaland, and I shall go with you. And before Berta had spoken her piece, Rodolf had stood up and was preparing to go because he had heard that Erka would tell her father what he had told her. Now she called out, Hear now, good warrior Rodolf, turn back and do not go away. I will become the queen of King Attila, and Berta will become your wife, and I will give you my gold ring now, as a pledge that it shall be just as I told you. King Osantrix and King Nordung saw that she gave him a gold ring. Now they thought that she would accept King Nordung, but it did not turn out that way. And thus we arrive at the end of today's part of the Thidrekssaga. In the next part, we will hear about a king that's fleeing from Attila, but the loss of 2 princesses, and a long-lasting feud between 2 realms. Thanks for tuning in, and see you again next time, back here at Sagenheim.